Hey guys, it's Sharon, and today we are reviewing last week's Shop My Stash and then shopping my stash for next week. I hope you've been enjoying this series. I go week by week reviewing the makeup from the previous week, what my thoughts were, is anything great, is anything meh, and what's leaving, and then we go through my collection and pull out makeup that I'll use for the following week. So this has been super fun, a great way to get to know my products and make sure that I'm really using things and thinking of them thoughtfully instead of just absent-mindedly using something day to day and then putting it back in my collection. So if you missed last week's video, I'll link it below. I'll also link the playlist so you can see it there. Then at the end of every month, I am able to go through and show you a whole declutter of the products that I opted to declutter from my collection based on using them for a solid week. So I've already done that for January, and I'll link that below as well if you haven't seen that. I've got full face on with everything that I used here. Let's go ahead and get into it. So if you saw the video, I pull an eye palette first, so that can be like the focus, and then I center the rest of the makeup around the eye palette. So the palette for last week was the JACLYN palette. It's the Luxe Legacy palette that she created. I've barely touched this since I got it, and I decided, yeah, this is gonna be the week, I'm gonna pull it out. And guess what? I don't like it. I think it's not great. I have a lot better quality shadows that I like better. The color story is not here for me. I ended up pulling it out after like just 3 days of wearing it. I tried a look with this entire row. I did these 3 shades here in a look, and then I also did like some matte shades as a matte look one day. I didn't like any of them, not a single one. They looked dry. Like when I did a matte shade here with these mattes on the lid, they looked dry and powdery, whereas when I use my Walking on Eggshells, not Walking on Eggshells, I Love You a Latte palette, it looks creamy and smooth and just beautiful. This was not it. I kind of just assumed people weren't talking about this because you can't buy it anymore, but I think they're not talking about it because it's not good. So it's gotta go. All right. Because of that, I picked all of my other JACLYN products for the week that I own, and most of those performed very, very well. So for face, I used my JACLYN blush and bronzer duo. Mine's in Pink Me Up and Oh Honey, and I actually really like this. I've got it on today, like I said, and I think it's really beautiful. I've liked this from the get-go, so this is a keeper for me. And then for highlight, I chose her Iced highlight. This is one of my favorite highlights. I bought it in a mini, and I do wish that this is one product that I had in a full size because I really like this highlight. But here we are with a mini. That's okay. So those are both great. Then I also pulled out my JACLYN Brighten Up Luminous Powder. I'm indifferent on this. It's gonna stay in my collection for right now just because I feel like I don't have a strong thought on it. It is a loose powder, which I said I'm gonna be getting rid of my loose powders, but this one is not obnoxiously messy. It doesn't come out of the holes aggressively and like make a powdery mess. So because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it for now. Then I also had the I'm Ethereal Vanity Light Glazed Luminizer. I also have a little bit of this on my cheeks, which is making me look super glowy. And this is a really pretty, like, cream highlight that just makes you look like you've got some shine happening. It's really pretty. This is also probably one of my favorites from her. Really like that. So let's get into then the eyeshadow that I used once I decided to pull this out because I didn't like it. I went ahead and just took a look at my like singles and small palettes drawer and pulled out these little babies. The e.l.f. Bite Size I Love You a Latte for some matte shades, and the Walking on Eggshells trio. When was the last time you've seen one of these? So that's what's on my eyes today. I used the mattes, and then I used the pink. I love that shade. It's probably one of my favorites. So that's what I got with this eye look today. It's what I started using once I determined I didn't like that JACLYN palette. I pulled these out and then had an enjoyable time doing my makeup the rest of the week. So these are winners. I love them. I did also pull in my e.l.f. topper here in Fine as Fleck, and every now and then I would pop that on as just a little bit of extra glitter. So this is fine. It's okay. Then, let's see, for complexion, I had pulled out my Stay Matte Rimmel primer with my Tirtir foundation, and I don't know what I was thinking because these don't play well together because they're too dry. I'm too dry to have two matte type of products. This one is like I feel like a satin to matte finish, and this is more of a mattifying primer. So these two together were way too matte for me. Now this one with like a normal foundation that's maybe more luminous, love it so much. Love this primer so much. It just didn't play well with this foundation. So I stopped using that primer and I just solely wore this foundation. That's what I'm wearing today. I prefer applying it with a dry beauty sponge. That's how I applied it today. I tested it with a brush with the little spongy thing that comes with it, and did determine that a dry sponge was my preferred method. After wearing this for a week, I did determine I do still like it. It gives you pretty good coverage. It can look a little bit dry, so if you are dry, this one probably isn't for you. Maybe look at the luminous one. But I do think this gives pretty good coverage and looks really nice. But I do think that my shade is not quite right. It looks okay upon initial application, and then throughout the day it oxidizes a little bit on me and starts looking too dark for the rest of my body. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass this one on this week and just take note of that and what shade I got, which was 15C Fair Porcelain. And I'm gonna pass this on and look at getting a lighter shade at some other point in time because I do like the foundation. I just think that the shade isn't quite perfect for me. And then for concealer and under eye brightener, I pulled out my LA Girl Pro Conceal in Cool Pink, which is the corrector shade, and that's what I patted under my eyes for my brightener. And then concealer is the Catrice True Skin. I really like this. It's really quite nice. Really makes a brightening difference there. And then this is just a good full cover conceal. You don't need much of this. This is not like a holy grail concealer for me, but it's also not bad. I know some people absolutely adore it. For me, I'm just like, it's fine. I'm not mad at it. Like, it's not a favorite, but like I'm not mad at it, you know? For brows this week, I pulled in my ABH pomade. I feel like this is fairly easy to use. My eyebrows are not that bad. They're not over plucked. Like, I don't have to fill them in a whole lot. I just need to like shape them a little bit, make them a little bit more defined. And this works pretty well for that. I have it in taupe. And then I'm continuing to use the Kosas Air Brow. Then for liner this week, I have on the Too Faced Better Than Sex Chocolate. I also pulled in the black version, and it's also lovely. These are like currently my favorite brush tip eyeliners. We have decluttered everything else. I didn't end up using my Kiko Milano shadow stick that I pulled in, so I'll have to use that again another week. I didn't end up pulling that at all. And then for mascara, I used the L'Oreal Paradise Big Deal Mascara. I'm wearing that today alone with no primer. I think this is a pretty good mascara. L'Oreal does mascara well. They always have. They are continuing to do it well. So this is a good mascara. It was expensive. I think this is a $15 mascara. So for that alone, I probably wouldn't buy it again because I don't feel like it's like that amazing, but like it's good. I'll keep using it. It didn't smudge too bad, so I'm not upset with it. And then let's see, for my cream products, you already saw the glazed luminizer thing. Luminizer, I pulled out though for bronzer and blush from Westman Atelier, my cream stick in Biscuit, which I really like. And then also the blush in Petal. I got like a miniature trio of blushes over Christmas. It was a holiday set that they had. I love these. I did use them quite a few times throughout the week and they're fantastic. So those are always a winner. Then for lips, what I have on right now is just a basic duo. Lifter liner, lifter gloss. This one's Moon, this one's Line Leader. Such a lovely pair. Really love, really love. And then for setting spray, I use the Tirtir Mask Fit Makeup Fixer. This has the most fine mist. Look at this. Could you even see it? It's so fine. It's really good. Love this setting spray. So this was a pretty good week actually for makeup that I'm keeping. I only found 2 things to pass out of my collection. I am hoping that that is what is going to be the trend going forward, is that as I start to whittle down my collection through the weeks, that I have less and less and I'm actually decluttering, because I'm honing in on the products that I love. So that's exciting. Only 2 things are leaving this week. So this was a strong makeup week. I'm happy about that. Now let's go ahead and get on to the shop my stash for the rest of the week. All right, so it's been just kind of like a busy, tiring weekend. So I actually already pulled all my makeup. I did it last night when I just needed some quiet to myself. I'm sure you can all relate. So today we're just going to be going through everything that I picked. I'll do some swatches for you, which I don't typically do because I feel like that'll make the video too long. So let's take a look at what we picked for the week. So the exciting development, I always like to start with shadow because I feel like I build the face around my shadow. But technically this time I built it also around my face products and my shadow because I got some gifts for Valentine's Day. So this palette was kind of considered a Valentine gift. Well, that's not true, not all of it, some of it. I got some new Sydney Grace eyeshadows, and then I've just gone ahead and put any other loose single shadows into this Z palette. This is actually the first time I've ever owned a Z palette in my whole life. Isn't that interesting? So I've got some Inglot shadows down here that I never use. This whole row of mattes right here, excluding that color right there, those are all Sydney Grace. I believe this whole row, except for maybe 1 or 2, are also Sydney Grace. These 3 are Sydney Grace, and then these 2 right here are Sephora Metal shadows. I love those. Also, those depotted so easily. Can other singles please be made like the Sephora singles, because they just came right out like they're meant to. They're labeled on the bottom. It's awesome. This was like a bonus shade that they gave me. So is this purple one. I didn't actually buy these 2. They were a bonus with my order. So that was super nice. So I've got them all in the palette here. So I'm excited because like I love these Inglot shadows and I never ever touch them. Like this taupey shade. Oh my gosh, look at that. So beautiful. So I'm focusing on these cool tone shadows for the most part, not like really that warm shade, but the cool tone shades, like, oh my gosh, this purple. There's just some gorgeous shades in here that I'm so happy to have. Look at that. Some just really beautiful, cool tone pinks and purples. The mattes are also really incredible. I just built my perfect cool tone palette. That's basically what I did. Let me just show you. These are all so soft, so soft. Look at that. So I did get ready with those shadows today, and they're super pretty. Actually, I don't know that you're even seeing my face, so that's probably irrelevant, but I did use them for the first time and I was super happy with them. So the rest of the makeup kind of revolves around, of course, these cool tone shadows, so that's super exciting. I would love to depot my other MAC shadows that I have, but depotting a MAC shadow is like near impossible, so I don't know if I want to mess with that. The other gifts I got for Valentine's Day were this MAC blush. This is in the shade Mocha. It's a matte, and it's just a really lovely cool toned pink. Really pretty, kind of natural. Can you see that? Is it blurry? I can't tell from the angle that I'm at. But I really enjoy this shade here. I picked that up at TJ Maxx and gave it to my husband and said, I would like that for Valentine's Day. Then also at TJ Maxx, I picked up this Ofra highlight. I've actually never had an Ofra highlighter before, and I always wanted one. So when this was on sale for like $8, I picked it up. It is more gold, so not necessarily cool toned, but it's really pretty. So I'm happy to be playing with that. It is a beautiful non-glittery highlight shade, if you can see that. Then I picked up an Honest blush. This is one of those that could be used as a lip or cheek color. This is in the shade Plumberry. I actually tried it on my lips yesterday. Really deep, rich color. I haven't yet used this on my cheeks, but on my lips, I really enjoyed the color. So even if I don't like it as a blush, I do like it as a lip balm. But I think sheared out, I think that's gonna be really beautiful, especially in these winter months. So I'm really excited to use that. I've heard nothing but good things about Honest blushes. I've just never gotten my hands on one. So I was super happy to see that at TJ Maxx. For bronzer, I went with one I used just recently because at this point I'm down to just having a few bronzers. I don't have that many to choose from week to week. And because most of my look this week is cool toned, I went with one of my more cooler toned bronzers, which is Park Avenue Princess from Tarte. I love that bronzer. And then the rest of my cream products, I went with the Sephora Contour Stick. If you haven't seen this swatched, there you go. It is super cool toned, perfect for fair skin. I believe the shade is just fair. Yeah, fair to light. So creamy, so easy to blend. Cannot say enough good things about that product. And then I only have one stick highlighter. I'm not even sure. I think this might have come in like a freebie kit. I don't think this was part of their normal collection, but maybe it was. It's Pink Dust from Ulta Beauty. It's the face highlighting color stick. If they still have it, it's definitely in different packaging because they've totally rebranded, but it's really pretty too. Oh, sorry, it's right here. This is the Ofra one. So this one's more pink, this one's more gold. And then for powder this week, I went with the Rimmel Stay Matte London, a classic little pressed powder. Moving on to the face, make my curler out of the way. I pulled out the REM foundation. This is in the shade Fair to In. I applied this with a brush today. Upon first application, did not like it at all. I've had this for quite a few months. It's not new to me. I've just kind of been trying to decide how do I feel about it. It looked terrible on the skin at first. It looked super dry. It looked like it clinged to my dry patches. Like it just was not like a great first initial application. But then I powdered in a couple of places just to get things smooth. And then I followed it up with the Ulta Beauty Dewy Glaze setting spray. And after doing that setting spray and then letting my face just sort of warm up the makeup naturally, it has melted into my skin so beautifully and it looks really nice. It gives kind of a I would say natural finish, more maybe natural matte, I'd say, but like I can see some shine on my forehead right now. So overall, like, I think it's decent. I don't think I'll buy it again, but I don't think it's one that I need to declutter, at least not right away. Then for color corrector, I pulled out the Ulta Beauty Color Corrector concealer here, which is fairly nice. It's not super brightening like some of my other pink ones are, but it's nice. And then I went with the Neutrogena Radiant Cream Concealer because I felt like the tones in this were really good, and I was right. They are very similar. Okay. Eye products. Let me move this palette out of the way so you can see that. Oh, I am still using up my Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer. We're getting so close to that being done. I'm very excited about that. So then, let's see. I pulled out 2 shadow sticks for the week. The NYX Jumbo in Lavender and the NYX Jumbo in Yogurt. One is lavender, of course, and one is more like a pinky champagne kind of color, which I thought would be perfect as a base layer for some of these shadows just to make them pop even more. Then I'm still using the ABH pomade this week. I didn't feel like there was any reason to try something different this week, so we're still using that. Then again, the staples that stay, Matte Gigablack Lash, the by Mario liner. I really need to start using this like every single day so I can get this sucker used up. And then I kept the 2 Too Faced brush tip liners in my drawer this week, the Better Than Sex liners in chocolate and black. And then I pulled in the Maybelline Super Lock because I finally used up the rest of the Kosas Air Brow Gel. I think technically there's still a product in there, but it was starting to be crusty. Like I looked at my eyebrows in the mirror and there was like crusty bits of gunk in them, which has never happened before. So that tells me that it's too old. There's too much going on in that tube. So pulled out the Maybelline Super Lock. And then for mascara this week, again, the Covergirl Lash Primer that always stays, and then the Wet n Wild So Defined Mascara. And of course, as you saw, the Ulta Beauty Dewy Glaze setting spray, which I actually really like. So there is the makeup for the week. I'm super excited about the makeup this week. I feel like the last 2 weeks were a little bit like just not exciting. But to be quite honest, if I don't like the eyeshadow I'm using that week, like I'm not going to be excited to do my makeup. So it's really important for me to like the eyeshadow. So I really like doing this project of forcing myself to use it for a week to see how I feel about it, and then really whittle down my collection. So super pumped about the Z palette. If you have any great tips on depotting MAC shadows, let me know. I know there's a way to use fire. There's also a way to pop them out with like cuticle nippers and like a tweezer. I tried that last night and ended up breaking the shadow so badly it popped it right out of the pan to where I couldn't even use it anymore. So I'm not gonna try that method again. And I'd really prefer not to use fire. So I'm not really sure there's anything else I can do, but if you have any great tips, let me know, because I would love to get those into a palette as well. I think that would be really nice. I think I'd actually get to use them if they were in a palette, because right now I never reach for them, like hardly ever. So all right, there you have it for the week. Check back next week for my final thoughts on all of this makeup, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.